Hello, everybody, and welcome to Real Madrid Hub. I am your host, Eric Rivera, and I am back here at Real Madrid Hub. I just want to give a shout out really quick to my good friend, Dr. Jota, who obviously has two channels, Dr. Jota and Jota Real Madrid. And of course, he has been running this channel, Real Madrid Hub. I joined him to help him out with with this channel. And I've been gone for, a couple of weeks now. I did a video a little while back about, having COVID and overcoming that. And I didn't have any symptoms anymore, but I kept on testing positive. So, I had my kids here. My son kept on testing positive. He couldn't go back to school. So those things weren't allowing me to post up the videos as much as I would like, but I'm back. I told Jota, hey, I'm gonna come back and start doing some videos. So thank you to him to keep me on board here, and we're going to keep pushing forward with this, the Real Madrid news, which, I've seen that a lot of you guys are enjoying, so thank you very much. So what are we going to talk about today? Obviously, there's always a lot of news surrounding Real Madrid, especially now that we're heading towards the end of the season. 10 more games left in La Liga, 2 games left, 2 games right now in the UCL coming up. And if we get past those, if we get past Liverpool, it can be essentially, more games. It would be 3 games in total, 15 games in total if we were to make it to the final. So the end of the season of Real Madrid would be 15 games in total if we were to make it to the final of the Champions League. And I'm a Madridista that is not a pessimist. I am an optimist, and I think we're doing really well. We're at a good part of the season. A lot of our players are coming back from injury. They're looking good. And I feel like we have a shot, like we have a chance to continue this good run of form and struggle, but possibly just to make it. The flood of Zidane's good luck may just take us there. So I'm positive, and I'm feeling positive, and it's going to be a struggle, but I think we're going to get to it. But today's video that I wanted to do is about Hazard, and it's about Eden Hazard and his situation with injuries and some of the news that's been coming about his injuries, and then some comments I want to make on that subject. So a recent article right here, I'll read out of this article, but this article is from HLN, which is an article in Belgium, is a news source in Belgium. Eden Hazard is now back in Madrid after spending the last few days in Belgium and working with Lieven Maarschalk, who is, one of the doctors for the Belgian national team. And according to Dr. James Cooper, who operated on Hazard's right ankle in London in 2017, Dr. Eugene Curry, who was a surgeon that Hazard used when he got injured and had to go under the knife again last March. Those 2 doctors, plus Dr. Lieven Maarschalk, plus another doctor from the Belgian national team named Chris van Krombruge, all agreed that Hazard does not need to get surgery again, which is pretty good, because it is on the same wavelength. It is in the same understanding that Real Madrid's medical team had, where they felt he did not need to get surgery. So that kind of shows us that Sanitas does know kind of what they're doing. I mean, they've been under fire a lot because of the injury situation at Real Madrid. But all of them have agreed that he does not need to go under the knife again. But what they suggested is conservative treatment, and they also suggested what they saw was that their medical conclusion was that his ankle, the ankle that is strong, which is his left ankle, the ankle that is strong is showing the exact same flexibility and strength as the ankle that has been injured. So they feel that the titanium plate that he has in his right ankle is not the cause, as what many people were suspecting was the cause of this recurring injury over his time at Real Madrid. So the diagnosis has essentially been that he has to undergo basically what they said is extreme treatment. Well, this could be, lost in translation, but basically very, very strong treatment, very, very rigorous treatment for strengthening and conditioning his lower body, including his abs, basically his core muscles, and his knees, and of course the ankle and his legs, his, everything, his basically his entire core and his legs, in order to avoid a relapse in that injury. They also said that they do not want football. Basically, they do not want him to be playing or be available for any games or anything like that, because they do not want to have a relapse. And they also said that the psychosomatic part of his recuperation is going to be very important, essentially meaning that his mindset of getting back into shape is going to be very important. He's going to need to feel confident that he is recovering. He's going to need to feel confident in his training. He's going to need to feel confident in this strength and conditioning they're going to do for his abs and his core and his knees and his legs, so that he can essentially come back to 100%. And the consensus, of course, between all the doctors and of course Real Madrid, is that Eden Hazard will not return to the field until he is, without a doubt, 100% fit. They are not going to try him out, because if they do that, they have a fear of, relapsing and this situation just getting worse and worse for Hazard. So where does that leave me, and why am I making the comments? So I'm not a doctor. I am not a physical therapist. I am not, a strength and conditioning coach. Although I can tell you this, and if you haven't listened to my podcast, Y Nada Más, and you can ask Dr. Jota. Before doing this podcast, I had a podcast about fighting, about Muay Thai and kickboxing, which was something that I did for over 12 years. For over 12 years, I was fighting. I was kickboxing. I was competing. I was, basically involved in kickboxing. And I was also coaching fighters that went on to win world championships, fighters that went on to win national championships. So I've been able to work with a lot of very, very strong athletes. And you notice that there are athletes that work very hard and there are athletes that are lazy. So there is this saying that we have, which is talent, hard work will beat talent when talent doesn't work hard. So everything we've heard from Eden Hazard's circle, a lot of the times from Chelsea and players that played with him at Chelsea, obviously the statements by Obi Mikel, the statements by Felipe Luis, who said that he felt that Hazard was on the same level as Messi and Ronaldo, could be on the same level as Messi and Ronaldo if he really wanted to put in the work. That if he would have put in the work, he could have essentially been at that same level. But that it didn't seem like he had that discipline or wasn't really looking to do that. And Obi Mikel said he was not a good trainer. So what is this? And we've seen jokes made by Hazard himself about training, that his training is basically football, it's basically playing, and that's his training. And let me tell you something, that works, and that can work when you're a very talented player, but you're young. When you're young, talent will take you very, very far. But as you get older, if you do not stay in shape, if you do not put in the work, your body is going to essentially start taking a toll. It's going to start telling you, hey, we can't keep doing this anymore. I need you to take care of it. So it needs to be like a car, like anything. It needs to be like it needs to be oiled. It needs to be taken care of. You need to be stretching. You need to be doing strength and conditioning. You need to get stronger. You need to do, repetitive motions. You need to do a lot of exercise in order to keep yourself in shape. Why have players like Messi and Ronaldo and Ibrahimovic, even players like in Sevilla, Jesus Navas, who's 35, players like Luka Modric, who's 35, how are they excelling still and still being able to play at a high level when they're already in their mid 30s to late 30s? And it's because all of those guys, the one thing you can see, the consensus there is that they all have a tremendous work ethic, and they seem to work very hard. Not only when they're playing the games are they great, but off the pitch, in the training, they are very focused and they are very disciplined. And we know that Hazard has not been. Hazard came to Real Madrid out of shape. And I think what happened is he started getting into trying to get back into shape, rushing back into trying to get back into shape because there was a lot of pressure. Of course, he's at Real Madrid, a lot of pressure from the media that was wondering why he was, out of shape. All of those things rushed him into probably training harder than he's ever trained before. And when you push yourself like that and it's not something that you normally do, it's going to take a toll on your body. That's like if who I used to fight, after I retired from fighting, I gained weight, I relaxed, I didn't go, running anymore, I didn't go hit the pads as much anymore. All of those things I did not do anymore because, I didn't need to. I wasn't competing, right? So what we have to do now, what we have to think about now, that's like me just jumping in all of a sudden and saying, you know what, tomorrow in 1 month I'm going to compete. So let me hit the bags, everything really hardcore. Let me get back into training very fast. Have all these people around me pushing the best athletes in the world, pushing me, the best trainers in the world, pushing me. And that's like basically pushing your body too far. Pushing your body too far, you are eventually going to get hurt. I would get hurt because my body is no longer the same as when I was 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I am now 38. I would end up in a hospital bed if I were to do that. And that's what we're seeing is happening with Hazard. He's essentially ending up pushing his body too much, too fast. He's got a lot of pressure also mentally to get back into shape. And that is why we're seeing these recurring issues. And it all stems from the fact that he never had a disciplined, behavior towards training for, to be a footballer and to be the best he could possibly be. He is a legend. I am not taking away from the fact that he is a legend. I am not taking away from the fact that he was amazing at Chelsea. Everybody knows that Hazard is an amazing player, but you can't get by on talent alone. This, as the saying goes, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. He has to start working hard. He has to start showing the discipline and getting back into training as hard as he possibly can and strengthening his body in order to avoid these injuries. And that is what is expected. And I think the reason there's a lot of anger for many Real Madrid fans at this point now that he's getting injured so much is because a lot of people know what I'm basically telling you is the sense that it doesn't seem like he was a very disciplined guy. And he basically came to Real Madrid as somebody who still had a lot of potential, but never, really paid attention to his potential and wasn't putting in the work to make sure that potential could go on for the long run. And that pissed off a lot of people because you are now at Real Madrid. This was your dream. You need to put in the work to show us why it was your dream and why, Real Madrid paid so much money for you, why all of us were so excited for you to come to Real Madrid. The same amount of love that people were showing him, he needs to show into putting himself back into training and getting back into shape. Because if an injury is an injury, so if he got injured because, it was something from everything we're seeing is if he would be getting legitimately injured each time it was a different injury, each time it was, but everything it seems like it's just basically a weakness of his core. It's something that he has to build up. And I think that's where a lot of Madridistas kind of feel maybe angry in the fact that, you would call him lazy, that he has essentially been lazy. Obi Mikel even went on to say that he felt like he was lazy, but he was a genius on the pitch. So basically he's talented, but he's lazy. Same thing with Felipe Luis, saying that he could have been great, but it didn't seem like he had the drive to be. Well, if you're going to be at Real Madrid, you better have the drive because that's what we require of our players. So that's my opinion on, of course, the entire Hazard situation and everything I've been hearing. I like Hazard a lot. I want to see him get back to his best, but it does bother me because it reminds me of seeing when I was a fighter and a coach, seeing talented young guys who just were lazy and did not want to put in the work. You know, some guys didn't want to be world champions, so that's completely fine. But if your goal is to be a world champion, which I know Hazard wants to be with Real Madrid and wants to lift trophies with Real Madrid, then he's got to put in the work like a world champion. He needs to take a page out of the book of Cristiano Ronaldo, out of Messi, out of Luka Modric, Ibrahimovic. How are all these guys that are older staying in such phenomenal shape? He needs to understand what they're doing and get back to doing that. And that's pretty much it. So remember, guys, you can also follow me on my podcast. I have a podcast, Y Nada Más Podcast. Comes out every Sunday, and we discuss everything that's going on with Real Madrid. So you can follow us at Y Nada Más Podcast. It's available everywhere, but it's also available. Of course. I'm available, on social media at Y Nada Más Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So you can find me there. And that's it, guys. And also make sure you do subscribe to my friend J Real Madrid, his two channels, J Real Madrid and Dr. J, as well as our channel here in English, Real Madrid Hub. Talk to you all again soon.